But all of her cooking, because that's what she did for her living, all of her cooking was from knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
She could not move up in another position because she could not read.
Mm-hmm.
So reading is very, very important. I am a very avid reader. I'm always reading something, and that's knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
That's knowledge that you probably, maybe somebody might not teach you.
Mm-hmm.
You can read about Africa and imagine what it's about and not even go to the country.
Right.
But reading it's very important in one's life.
Wow.
It's never too late to learn how to read. Yes.
Well, my biggest issue is I think we ought to put spelling back in school as a curriculum. If a kid know how to spell, could recognize the word, or he or she could recognize the word that they're reading, and I used to tell my little granddaughter all the time, the more you know, the more you grow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she used to, that girl there, I couldn't do nothing without her questioning me. I said, sometimes you ask too many questions.
Well, she's inquisitive, and that's the way they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she used to tell me all the time, no, I just want to know. You told me the more I know, the more I grow. Yeah. So, that made me feel good a lot of times.
And that goes to another statement that I make. Kids hear and learn what they see.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna mimic us.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They're gonna do what we do because that's what they see.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be very careful on that, especially as parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. When we go to the school to have a consultation or a conversation with someone on campus, we have to be careful how we approach that conversation or we have to make sure that we're going there professionally as possible. We have to make sure that we're not going there defensively before the conversation starts.
Right.
We have to listen to both sides in order to come to a decision where it benefits the child or the children. If it's 2, if it's 4, then we all need to come together, or the parents, teachers, administrators need to come together and let's talk about that. Let's figure out where the problem is. Who's the bully? What can we do to turn that around and then get these kids back on track to learning instead of hating each other. We have enough hate in the world.
Right.
We don't need to let it start at kindergarten.
Right.
And I think Brother J has a question.
Yeah, I got a question, Miss Emily. As a talk show host for a number of years I've been doing, and a lot of things we talk about, especially in your field in the school boards, discipline and academics collide. As I don't know if you know that Louisiana ranks 46, and they've been consistent in educational outcomes, which is a negative. With all other statistics that Louisiana ranks, real at the bottom. Now the question is, how you feel as a person running for elected membership of the Lafayette Parish School Board, what is a priority for you? Academics or discipline? Because we have a lot of problems in the schools. So what you think is the priority that people should be concerned about?
I'm going to go back to something Mr. Wallace said a long time ago when we were in the segregated schools.
Yeah.
Our teachers took care and they took time with us. We first, when we walked in a classroom, we first had to have manners. Once we got that established, then we had to do our work. We had to learn. They made sure that we learned what they were teaching us. Okay, so discipline came all along. It was a priority, but it wasn't a priority, if it makes sense. Because when you walked in there with your manners, you knew what the rules of the class was and of the school, and if you didn't do, then you got in trouble, right? So I guess I could say maybe discipline first, because you have to have that order
Good environment to learn.
in your classroom in order to teach. So I would say discipline and respect and manners first, and then here comes our education, because that's all a part of learning and growing.
So the premise is you cannot really learn in a real negative environment.
You can't. I mean, you can learn the negativity, you know, but to me, and I'm not an educator, I'm not a degree person, but I have worked with children from, you know, my younger days. I was a tutorer. I also, with the Bridge of Acadiana, I also did some tutoring there. So it's the discipline, just knowing that you have that control of that child. You can sit there and y'all can color all day long. Y'all can play jacks all. I'm telling my age. Y'all can play the video games all day long, but as long as you respect that child and that child respects you, then you have that undivided attention.
And Ms. Duyon, I got a two-part question. The first part is what changes or what policies you see in the district that's being made that you want to move forward with, or any changes you think should be made to policies within the school board. And then the second part is, do you think from K to 12, should we add gun violence and violence safety and the detrimental effects that violence cause? Should we add that to our curriculum here in the state and within Lafayette Parish?
Okay, so I'm going to go with the second one first, because I'm kind of passionate about that. And I did kind of ask that question to the chief of police. If her force, the police force, was ready for gun violence in the schools. And her answer to me was yes, but she didn't get into details. I just took her answer as that. But I would like, in fact, I was talking to a sheriff last night at a function. I would like to see everybody on that school campus trained in some type of way. Not a 30-minute train, not an hour train. We need at least 4 to 8 hours of training, whereas the janitor can notice someone on campus that does not need to be there. The secretary, if she sees somebody come on campus and they're not familiar, there should be in place some kind of code, a button, or something to alert the outside force that there's an issue before it starts with the gun violence. Your first question was changes that I would like to make. Mr. Falk, there's a lot that I have to learn. It's like a new job that I'm going to. I have to get the information, I have to be trained, I have to make sure that I understand what's going on. So there is some things that I've seen, I've read, I've heard, but until I see the actual facts of how the change can come about for the good of all, then I can't really say, I can't pinpoint one particular subject. I just know that it's going to be for our children. And when I say our children, I do mean our children, because when we were created, we were all created the same. It's just the color factor that separates us.
And back to that second question, I want to go a little further and ask a question on that. As far as not only in the schools, just the gun violence in the schools, would you be in support of a policy that would add the teaching the students detrimental effects that violence have just throughout the community?
Mr. Falk, that's a good question, but it's a touchy question because that would have to be an answer coming from each parent. I'm a grandmother and a great grandmother. Would I want my kids to learn about gun violence in school? No. 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 I guess I would have to say it depends upon the circumstances. You know, protection, yes. Going out there because you want to get back at somebody? No. Will our kids be at an age where they can understand the difference? That's the question that's kind of up in the air.
Let me put it in greater detail for you. Let's see how to word it. Like it's happening with the gun violence. I think it's happening, and it's starting with all ages, and I'll say starting at the age of 5 because we didn't see it that young. And I think at that age is not that it's something that they know about doing or something that they wanted to do, is that they don't have education on it. And I know it starts in the home, but for those kids that the parents don't have the time to educate them on it, I'm saying adding it. When I say adding, say gun safety, gun violence to the curriculum, it's not as teaching them more so of what the violence can cause, but it's more so of teaching them the culture that has been created throughout with this gun, because it has become a culture, and it's taking over not just the schools but the community as a large. And I think if we start within the school system, because every kid has to reach the school system, so it's mandatory that every kid of a certain age go to school. So it's in attendance. It's mandatory. So should we add that to the curriculum and teach them the culture that it has created, and going about getting away from the culture?
And Brother Key, I could add, I don't want to step on.
Go ahead.
That's a political hot potato in Baton Rouge, and they probably won't even, they'll block the school board, even the school board member, from even making that type of decision, because it would implicate the system itself into, Louisiana's a gun carry state and all this other stuff. So I think that would be taking away a lot from the school board members' everyday decision making process. I understand what you're saying.
Let me put it in. Let me put it in something that might make it more clear. When I was in school, middle age, 5th grade, they started teaching us. It was DARE. I don't know if y'all remember the DARE program. So I was saying, like, create some kind of portion of the curriculum that would be similar to DARE, but also teaching the detrimental effects on gun violence, because it's not just gun violence, period. Because District 3, and I'm gonna say, District 3 is mostly an African American populated district.
Correct.
And the let's see, the critics, I'm gonna put it like that. The critics say that it's mostly happening in the African American culture, which right now, the African American lifespan, according to Google, is 25 years old. So shouldn't that be a part of the curriculum, the culture that it has created, and how to divert from that culture?
Mr. Falk, I'm gonna have to go with a no.
Yeah.
I totally understand where you're going with
Yeah.
this. I realize what you're talking about. But I want to go back to you saying that it's in the Black communities. Let's go back to the news. All the gun violence that has happened, the school shootings, it's not one of us. It's not a person of color that's going into those schools and shooting up. Okay? And I believe that if they can if they can come up with a law to take these unnecessary guns off the street, because those guns are not whatever the amendment is to bear arms. When the Constitution was written and it said you were able to bear arms, I think they were telling you to protect yourself or to go out hunting. It didn't say to go into the mall and start shooting people because you either got fired or you got pissed off at somebody, or those are the tragedies that are happening now. And that goes back to mental health that they're looking at now, that the doctors and the officials and policemen are saying this is what's causing the shootings, because they just flip out.
But they flip out with a war type weapon.
Knowledge of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna go get this machine that sends out 15 bullets at a time, which doesn't make sense. But then you're going into an open mall or in the public and using this particular gun. You're not going after the person who made you mad or threw Clorox in your cereal that morning. So I understand what you're saying, but it's not something that I would vote on.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of components.
There would be tremendous pressure on you not to do.
I mean that's
that's
like
a political thing.
Yeah, that's like 3 or 4 years of documenting and researching and finding out, what would even be the best way to approach the school system or the Bessie board with that question.
We're talking here this morning with Ms. Emily Lewis Duhon. If you want to join
She's a
in
great
the
guest.
conversation, area code
A great co-host,
347-347-7236. And this is the time, unless you know personally where you could call up and ask a certain question. But we're trying to bring her distinct reason why she needs to be on the school board for District 3. And I think she has some good viewpoints, that's me personally, and I hope y'all have a good intention on trying to help her get in office.
I have another question. I'm not trying to, but with as a person who running for elected office, what do you view a role of a school board member? To take information from the public, or for decision making for the parents, to take input from the parents, from the system? So what you view as a school board member role?
I see it as a school board member, an elected school board member. I would bring all that my knowledge that I learned to the district. The district is very, they don't know a lot, you know, because they don't have the time to go to the school board meetings. They sometimes can't get in to talk to the teacher. There's a lot of underlying things that people don't know as taxpayers, where their educational tax pennies go. There's a lot of time that parents don't know who to contact. You know, what's the protocol for me to get in there to talk to somebody? So my intention is to work on both sides. I'm gonna work with the parents, give them the directions, and I'm gonna also bring to the district the things that I learned from being a school board member back to the district, and they may have questions. I can tell them where to go to answer these questions. Or we can have them come to the school board, address the issue, and then it can be discussed that way. But the people of all districts need to know who their representative is. Go to that person so that they know the correct protocol to follow through on whatever issues or concerns that they have.
Now, another question. When you become a school board representative, will you have town hall meetings for the parents in your district to understand what's going on and how or why we should move forward or move backwards?
Mr. Wallace, that is my intention, to have town hall meetings so they can understand and know what's going on in the district, and also to make sure that our, you know, our parents need to have understanding, and they also need to have what I want to say, ways and means of getting their opinions out without being judged, or without thinking that, oh, they don't care, or they never show up. But our parents have to work. They don't have that schedule. Yes, you can listen to the school board meetings on TV, but that's around dinner time. You can go to the school board meetings, but you're just getting off of work. You gotta get home with the kids and you gotta do homework. And so yes, town hall meetings, my plans are to do that. I'm gonna keep my Facebook page up. I have one now. I'm gonna keep that up. And we also have a website. You can email me questions and concerns. You can call me. I will return my calls. Now, it may not be immediately. It may not be within 15 minutes, but know that the call will be returned. Yes.
Give me your website address.
Yes. The website address is www.electemilydouyon.com. Now, that is Emily, E-M-I-L-I-E, Douyon, D-U-H-O-N.com. The phone number to reach me right now, it's 337-520-5476. We also have a Facebook page. You can inbox me the questions. Let's see, the Facebook page is, Vote Team Emily, I think it is. I'm not quite sure. And I'm sorry for that. I should have had that, but it's not in front of me. But the email address is Team Emily Douyon, District 3 @gmail.com. So there's several ways that you can contact me, and I will return the call, the answer, or the email.
Okay. So y'all heard that.
And of course, you know, and like I said, my office is 1909 West University. Feel free to come knock on the door, ring the doorbell, and we'll talk.
And that's right across the street from Laura, right?
Right across the street from Ms. Laura's, yes, right next to the Chase Bank.
Yeah.
And of course, according to our discussions today, sound like Ms. Dunion will have an open door policy.
Yes, sir. Yes. I truly believe, I've always had it since I've had my business and worked out in the workforce. I've always appreciated an open door policy. And I've had that with my employees the entire time of my business. And I've had quite a number of employees, and they've all been satisfied. Well, one or two disgruntled ones, but you'll find them.
Well, with everybody.
Yeah.
Even with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, again, if anybody want to join in on the conversation, area code 337-347-7236. And we talking to Ms. Emily Lewis Duhon right now. She's running for District 3, you know, and she's been answering all the questions that we've been throwing at her, you know.
And I want the public to know, I am far from a politician. I've never done this before. This is out of my comfort zone, but I do believe that changes need to be made, and we can't wait for someone else to make changes for our children. We need to step in, and we need to do the best that we can. And casting your vote is very important. We've had our ancestors to die for this, for us to be able to cast our vote. And so we need to get out there, and we need to make sure that you make that vote, because if you don't vote, you can't complain. You can't fuss.
Nope.
You can't say, I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
And you know, another thing I'm tired of hearing, they're gonna do what they wanna do anyway. You know, the only reason why they done what they wanna do is because
You didn't vote.
You didn't vote, and
Yeah.
you're not trying to make your vote count.
People don't realize that 10 votes can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
10 people not voting, either because it was the wrong party or somebody you didn't like. Your vote needs to be cast so it can be accounted for, so we can make these changes throughout.
Yeah, we may not like the process, but this is the process we have in the front of us.
Correct.
And if we don't exercise our right to vote, shame on us. You know, somebody told me one time, I think it was a preacher, he told me, he said, I like what you've done, trying to get the people out to vote. I said, well, I learned that when they voted to crucify Christ, you know, I vote for people to do the right thing. You know, that's what I vote for. And yeah, you know, everybody you vote for, but we got governor's race getting ready to come up. We better make sure we're ready to vote the right person in for governor. Because we don't need another Bobby Jindal.
Yeah, I think state of Louisiana thinks so too. But in choosing your vote, do your research. Check out your candidate. See what that person stands for. Now, they're not going to always be what we want, but if they can be kind of, sort of, for everybody and not just one side of the street,
right?
You know, and you can tell that in what they say, how they, you know, how they talk, what they talk about, and do your research about your candidate. You know, just find out as much as you can. Don't take hearsay. You do your own research so that you can have your own opinion of that person.
Especially if you've been known them for a while.
Right.
Miss Emily, it's graduation time, and we have a whole crop of young people coming out, high school. Some go into VOTEC, some go into colleges. I know you might have a message for a lot of the graduates as a school board candidate, but the other issue is the number of young people leaving the state. Louisiana has lost population. I hate to always be the purveyor of bad news. That's what I tell Brother Wise and Keith all the time. I try to pull up the statistics and deal with the questions with whoever we're talking to. But what would you tell a young graduate now getting out from high school who might consider VOTEC or moving away, or a young college graduate who might be thinking about taking their trade to Dallas or Atlanta, Houston? What would you tell them?
Follow your heart.
Okay.
Follow what it is that you want to do. A 4-year degree is not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Lots of the people in the world didn't, but they're successful. Follow your heart. If you feel that you want to be a cook, then go to the trade school. You go to the cuisine, learn how to cook. Yeah. If you want to be an attorney, then you know what? You go to be an attorney for your heart, not someone else's heart. I wouldn't stop anybody from leaving the state or the city, because traveling is another learning tool. You don't have to stay in one spot to learn. And if you have the opportunity to venture out, then I believe it's a good thing. Just don't forget where home is. You know, some people leave and, you know, you see them 3 years later and they're like, oh, I don't know, oh, what? Yeah. And, you know, but I would never ever stop anybody the opportunity to travel. But with that being said, find your niche. Find what it is that you want to do, because then it'll be fun and you'll continue to do it instead of doing it because somebody else wanted you to do it.
You know, I wish Ms. Parker, congratulations. I forgot to wish my great nephew, Derek Celestine, congratulations on his accomplishment on getting a diploma. And I want to wish everybody congratulations, for those are the two that I really know, you know, but I know we have a whole lot that been graduated from these schools here in Lafayette. But
and I'm so glad that they're able to have graduation, you know, because for the last 4 years, our kids have been, their lives have been stolen.
Yeah.
You know, we have 4 years of high school graduates who, in 4 years from now, they're gonna, well, we didn't do that, or, you know, we didn't have the opportunity to do it. And it's gonna be a hurting feeling 4 years from now. They don't feel it now because they're too busy trying to get their lives together. But to every one of the graduates today, regardless if it's kindergarten all the way up to college, I want to congratulate them and let them know that this is a job well done. You believe in yourself. Always do what your heart tells you to do, and always pray. Praying makes a difference, even if you can't understand it now. It does. I also want to congratulate my niece, who graduated from LSU as a nurse practitioner.
Whoa.
So that was 6 years of her life that she used to keep her hands in the book, and I know that her mom and dad are proud of her.
You're right.
Yes.
While we're on graduation, how do you feel about the policy of the standardized test, the exit exam, that might hold somebody back from graduating who made the grades all year but didn't pass the exit?
One of my godchildren went through this. Brandon probably graduated 25 years ago. He was from Carencro High. He was on the football team, made the correct grades to keep, stayed 3.5 average, got a scholarship, graduated from McNeese State University. But he couldn't walk across the stage because he had not passed the exiting test.
That's crazy.
Okay? But you have the grades. I'm not fond of that test. I'm not fond of any testing, really, because I'm not a tester. but I know testing need to be done, but I don't think a person's livelihood should be dependent on testing, you know? Now, teachers, educators will probably say, you know, that's not a right answer, but I know from experience that testing is not for everybody. You can have the smartest person in the classroom that freaks out when it's test time, but they know the answers.
Right.
When I was tutoring back in the day, I had one student who could not read. I had to read to him the questions of the test. The kid knew every answer, but he couldn't answer it on paper because he couldn't read. So you can't say a person is insufficient in education or knowledge because they can't read. You know, so yeah, testing, Mr. Falk. Yeah, I'm against that, but you know that's something that educators believe that it's a need to level or grade you, in other words.
And do you think we need more variety of work field education for those who graduate that don't want to do 4 years? They'll be educated on different types of work fields like electrical, mechanic, construction, concrete, bricklaying. Do you think we need to add those work fields into the curriculum?
Yes, that's the technical, I think technical side of education, like we had at it's now Southwest Louisiana Community College, but what was it before? Yes, yeah, over there on Bertrand. Yeah, because they had the mechanic shop, they had the carpentry shop, there was the beauty shop, the barber shop. I mean, you learn all these on-hand skills, and that took a whole lot of people out into the world where they can make a living.
Yeah.
You know, now you have the driving school, you have the truck driving school. My mom was a beautician, so she went to beauty school back in the day through a black beauty school instructor. My dad was a truck driver. He taught himself because they didn't have the schools then, but they have the schools and the skills now to learn how to do that. And I think it's a great opportunity for kids because they can build a good life. You know, they can build a good life. I believe in technical education.
I never knew your mother was a beautician, but I know she makes some wonderful pig ears.
Yeah. We had to discontinue that. Yeah, she's 93 years old now, so and she tried to get me into it, but that's just a little bit too much work.
You got 93. Congratulations! My mother makes 92 in June.
Oh, really? So she's got one coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have some good genes, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
yes, ma'am.
Well, Ms. Emily, as we come to the close.
Oh no, I have to leave.
We down to the final 3 minutes. Is it anything we hadn't discussed today that you want the audience to know? Anything you want them to know about your character, your personality, and give them information on how they can support you?
Okay, like I said before, I'm definitely not a politician. But I am a caring person. I know that we need to make some changes. We need to have an extra voice on Lafayette Parish School Board that would make a difference in our schools. As a whole, the school board works together. I plan on working with each person for every child in the Lafayette Parish school system. I just ask people to please consider voting. Make sure your vote counts. Because if you don't, then we'll get the wrong persons in that position, and then things will never change. Okay? Change is good. You can contact me again at my office, 1909 West University, at the Four Corners, or you can call me at 337-520-5885. 5476, or you can send me an email at www.elect, E-L-E-C-T, Emily, EMILIEDUHON.com. And I promise to return your email, your phone calls, and if I don't, I will have my campaign manager, Susanna Johnson, to return the call, and we will get your answer or your concerns. We will get an answer for you.
Well, I thank you for coming in and giving us your point of view. You know, we have to sign it off right now. I want to thank everyone for allowing me to come in their home, in their eyes, their ears, and in their heart.
I want to thank you, Ms. Dugnon, for coming in, allowing us to interview you.
Thank you all for having me. I appreciate it.
We see the passion you have for the community. Ms. Emily Lewis Dugnon, District 3, Lafayette Parish School Board candidate.
I will be back as a winner.
He's a very charming guest. Charming also.
The views and opinions we just expressed today does not reflect the views and opinions of this station, KDN Open Channel, Cox Communication, Lafayette Utility System, Digital Soul Media. The views and opinions reflected only reflects the views and opinions of the guest, the host, the director, and the co-host. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Ms. Dugnon, for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
See you at a later date.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget, Tech Talk tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock.
Yes.
88.3.